In 2023, I read 37 books, coming out to a total of 19,313 pages. And today we'll be going over my top 5 of the year. First off, I decided to go with top 5 because I feel like I haven't really read enough books to warrant a top 10. It would kind of just be cramming things in my opinion, just to kind of fit the list. So I think 5 is a good number. And as I say that, I'm going to cheat a little bit as usual. I do want to give some honorable mentions. So I'm going to give 2 honorable mentions. The first one I'm going to go with is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Really nice addition here. This one I read towards the end. I think I read it like maybe only 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was fun. There was not a single really con of it. It was just a nice, enjoyable story. I know Blake Crouch, at least from what I've seen, is kind of divisive, and some people really like him, some people don't like him too much. I really enjoyed it. Once again, nothing really wrong with it. It was a pretty mind-bending journey that went through some emotional areas as well, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fast-paced. I couldn't put it down, and it wasn't overly complicated either. Even though it was, it definitely hits on more of a complicated subject, I'd say, of science fiction, but he did it really well, real understandable, and I enjoyed it a lot. Not quite enough to break into the top 5, like I said. It didn't necessarily blow me away, but nonetheless, great all around. And the next one I like to put on the honorable mentions is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. This one was pretty amazing. Now, once again, it didn't quite make it to the top 5 because there was something that happened in it that I didn't completely agree with. Didn't make it bad by any means, of course, but it kind of just knocked it off a step for me personally. All around, really dope. Okay, samurai with a little bit of powers thrown in there. Pretty traditional in that aspect, but it does do a few things that catch you off guard, especially the depth of it. So M.L. Wong was really able to get deep in. I didn't expect this to be emotional at all. I'm one to not really get emotional with books at all, but there were a few parts that kind of hit me, and it just really takes you to the struggle of this woman protagonist we do have. And yeah, it was hard hitting. The action was great all around. Great story. I do understand why it's so popular. It is definitely one of the most popular standalone fantasies I've ever seen, and it gets talked about all the time, which is kind of why I avoided it. I don't know, not to be contrarian, right? But sometimes when something's talked about so much, I kind of shy away from it. But yeah, I do understand the love for it and why this is some people's favorite book. It's favorite standalone of all time. Definitely amazing, worth a check out. Okay, now that we got the cheating out of the way, we're going to start on the top 5. So, number 5, I'm going to go with Swan Song by Robert McCammon. This is a true, original, post-apocalyptic story. It gets a lot of comparisons to The Stand by Stephen King. I haven't read this. I read a bit of The Stand. I only read like 200 pages, so I could see the vibes right away, definitely. And for me, you've watched this. Like, this is in so many movies. It is a pretty routine way of going about a post-apocalyptic story in the beginning, at least from what I've seen. But Mr. Robert is able to just... It's so engulfing. Like, he just takes you away, and the way he describes the world after this nuclear thing that happens, it just hits a little bit different, okay? And I really enjoyed it. I haven't read any post-apocalyptic books, but this This is really good. I really enjoyed it. It's long. It's pretty. I'm not gonna say it's slow. It's one of those books where you don't really notice how long it is. Once again, the descriptors are great. He really gives life to how desert and desolate and everything this new world is after this travesty. And the story and the characters we follow are so well done. You care about each of them, and they all are fascinating in their own way. And he does have a few things that catch you off guard that you wouldn't expect at all. Just kind of how he handles the power in a way, the magical element, I guess you could say. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and it just, there's nothing I can say that was wrong with it. Really, I mean, it wasn't slow. I definitely recommend checking it out, even though it is a bit longer. And this is definitely one of his most well-known works, I think. I think Boy's Life as well as his other one, but this one is definitely talked about a lot. So I definitely recommend you checking it out if you love the post-apocalyptic world. All right, number 4, I have Morning Star by Pierce Brown. Okay, so I loved all of Red Rising, even the first one. A lot of people don't like that one as much. You know, the Hunger Games-esque, vibe it has. But I really enjoyed Golden Sun as well. And I was thinking that one might be my favorite, but every time I think about it, when I envision, when I think back to when I was reading Morning Star, I was pacing back and forth during a lot of Darrow's speeches. You know Red Rising by now, okay? It is amazing, but I'm gonna go with Morning Star just because I feel like there's a lot of parts in it that really hit for me personally, just with how intense it was. I mean, just the way Pierce Brown is able to put so much, just vigor into Darrow is just so enjoyable. It's so fast paced. It gripped me instantly. And like I said, I was literally pacing back and forth. This is one of the few books that has done that for me, and I just couldn't put it down. I tried to read as fast as possible just to see what was going to happen next. And this is definitely my favorite so far. I've only read up to Dark Age, which I've heard a lot of people love, but haven't gotten to it just yet. So yeah, I'm going to go with Morning Star out of the Red Rising series. So, to move on to the next one, at number 3, I'm going with The Last Argument of Kings from the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I'm sorry, okay, I know a lot of these are big name things, but I'm still getting through the big ones, and they're huge and popular for a reason. First Law is spectacular, and it is all one story. They happen right after another, but if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with the last one, of course, in the trilogy, just because it kind of closes things off, if you want to say that. Yeah, I don't know really more to say about First Law. Joe Abercrombie is just a master of characters and just leaving you at the edge of your seat. Now, you really can't get attached to these characters. I did, but I knew what was going to happen going in, and I can't trust him, basically. People die, people get hurt, and you just have to accept it. That's what I love about it. I love that anyone can be taken out. No one's safe. So many lovable characters. All of them, actually. They're all lovable characters. Everyone's favorite is Glocta. Logan is probably my favorite. I love his sayings. I love when he just goes crazy. Yeah. Action, perfect. The battle sequences are amazing, artful, tasteful. They're so well done. They're not overly complicated. And once again, it's a true battle. Like, they're not going unscathed. There's like so many battles that happen, and you think, okay, he'll have this battle, and then he'll go on to the next, and next, and next, and then he's ready for the big guy. But no, they get hurt in little skirmishes by people that you wouldn't even think. That's what I love about it. Just the edge of your seat. You always know who's talking as well, just because of how well Joe handles these characters. But yeah, you know about it. Read it, okay? Grimdark at its finest, huge, popular. You gotta read it. Last Argument of Kings, number 3rd. Okay, now rearing into the top 2. This one, I don't know if this is gonna be a quite common pick for most people in their top books, but this might go down to be one of my favorite books of all time as well. Definitely in the running, and that's gonna be Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I got this fancy Folio Society edition. It's beautiful. Okay. Jurassic Park. I read this a couple of months ago. Really quickly. Really quickly. Everyone knows Jurassic Park, of course. If you don't know the book, I didn't even know it was a book. First off, I'm sorry. Okay? I thought it was a movie. I never really thought past that until, of course, maybe like last year. But this blew the movie out of the water. And I grew up on the movie. I loved the movie enough. But I don't know what it is about this book. It's so simple and just easily consumable that, I just can't. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I read it and I thought about it for months after. And that's what led me to pick up that edition. I just don't... It is just so well done. It's just such a simple story as a whole, really, but it's just so transformative of the genre, I guess. Maybe that's a bit of it, just like understanding the science behind it as well, which is so different from the movie where they don't go, of course, too much in depth, but in the book you really understand why things went wrong. Besides the kids, okay? The kids suck in the book. God, very annoying. But, I love how Crichton used Malcolm as his, his rant character. He literally would just say things out of nowhere, and some of them really made me think a bit. And I really enjoyed that, and it also, it still was relevant to the book, of course. And just also, dinosaurs, man. Dinosaurs are cool. They're awesome, and I love this book, and I can't stop thinking about it. And that's all. Okay, I need to read his other stuff as well. I'm a bit scared because I feel like nothing would live up to this. But yeah, Jurassic Park. And finally, we're on to number 1. This one's been talked about a lot this year because some of the bigger booktubers, like Mike's Book Reviews, and a few others, I think, have just recently picked this up, which caused me to pick it up, or want to pick it up even more. I already kind of had it in my sights, and that is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Man, similar to Swan Song, this is a longer book, a pretty slow book, but you get to hear so many people say this, and you get to wonder why. I was the same, where I was like, there's no way this book about 2 Texas Rangers leading a cattle drive across the states is going to be this great. But, man, I don't know what it is. Mr. Larry is truly just a master. I mean, it is insane what he was able to write here, and just how in depth these characters were. There would literally be like 150 pages of some cowboys, okay, just chilling around a fire, and that's all. That's all you need. It is just so well done, even in those little moments. But of course, it actually kind of caught me off guard too. I wasn't, you kind of don't realize how vicious those times were in the Old West. Even a bit, after everything was going to shit, it lingered a bit with the rivalries they had. Even past those, those couple of hundreds of pages where it is pretty relaxed, so to speak. Just a bunch of a bunch of guys, walking across the states with some cattle. That's all great, but there is a lot of vicious and heart-wrenching things that happen that definitely caught me off guard. And it really just, I don't know too much about that time period. I know enough, but it really showed you the viciousness of that time that I didn't expect or hadn't really thought about as much. And some moments really, really just like made you stop and think like, dang, that was terrible. So yeah, it has it all. I mean, it has an amazing bromance. Okay, if you're really into that, Gus and Cal are amazing together, and you really feel for their relationship and everything they've been through. Yeah, I mean, it was epic, truly beautiful, near perfect. This is without a doubt going to be one of my favorite books of all time, and I do want to read the rest. I know you get to hear it a lot. Most people don't say the other books are quite as good, maybe not even as close to being that good, but I still feel like it's a worthwhile thing to see the rest of the story. I think that there's a prequel, seeing their past and everything. But yeah, I mean, you gotta check it out. Even if you're not into Westerns at all, I'm not, obviously. But guess what? I mean, after I finished this book, I literally wanted to read it again. I closed it. I was numb for a little bit. I was like, okay, all right. I was like, I need it again. I did start watching the TV series, and yeah, I think they did a good job. I actually I didn't get too far into it, but I definitely need to get back. But yeah, Lonesome Dove. That is my number one pick of 2023. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I might actually I might rank all my books I read, all 37, in a little tier list for you as well. I feel like that might be fun. I read some really, I had a good year of reading. I'm not usually a negative kind of I guess reviewer of sorts. I enjoy most things, and maybe I'm just new to it, but I really didn't have any gripes at all this year. Of course, there are some. You'll see if I do the tier list, if I put anything, a bit low or. But other than that, yeah, it was a really great year. This is the most I've ever read. This is the first year that I took it seriously, I guess, as like a real hobby, something that I really enjoyed doing, other than like a few books here and there. So yeah. It was a good year. I hope y'all had a great year as well with your reading. But that's all I have. I'll see y'all next time.